Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of the BeBall Jones podcast. Of course, I'm your host, BeBall Jones, and today I have an interview for you guys. Bringing in another Bama boy, man. Of course, I'm a Birmingham native, but this gentleman right here is a Mobile guy, man. It's still all in the same cocoon of Bama boys, man. But this guy is also a Blazer. I was like technically a Blazer. I don't like fully claim to be a Blazer, but I went there. I just didn't like have proof to show that I like always went there. But I'm still technically a Blazer. This guy's a Blazer right now, representing as a coach and trying to figure out his journey and to give you guys his journey, man. But I like to welcome you all. I would like to welcome this gentleman right here, Josh Lane, to you all. That sounds better, man.
Yeah, what's up, man?
What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. It's cooler, man. Cooler.
Everything good with you?
Smooth, man. No complaints at all, man. One of those seldom off days, so gotta enjoy it while you can.
Most definitely, bro. So, tell the people what you exactly do at UAB and what's your position and title up there.
Man, so I'm the director of player relations, so I'm over I'm over all of our film exchange, film breakdown. I'm over all the gear. I handle that and anything that arises with the players, like anything you can think of from, hey man, trying to figure out, hey, where is this class at? Hey, what time do I have to be here? Keeping the dudes on schedule as far as like, hey man, practice this time, workouts this time, boom, boom, boom. So, kind of just gluing everything together.
Mm. So you kind of like the glue guy of the team.
Man, I mean, we could say that. I just like to say, man, I just get stuff done, man. Whatever comes up, I just get it done. Nothing too big, nothing too small.
I respect that, man. So, how long you been doing it for?
Man, so this is gonna be my second year full time as a director of player relations. Before that, I was a grad assistant for 2 years. Before that, I was a manager for four.
Mm. So, with doing this role, man, has it been everything you thought it would be, or is it a little bit worse, a little bit better? Like, what was your expectations going into it compared to what it's actually been so far?
Going into it, man, I was expecting for it to, I was expecting for it to have its challenges, which it did. But I've kind of been around it so long, and UAB. I've been around UAB for this is coming up on year 8, so I kind of know how UAB works, how UAB flows. So the transition wasn't hard. Like it was kind of just now, man. On top of the stuff you already do, we're just adding a couple more responsibilities. So it wasn't like anything crazy. Like the guys who came before me definitely did a good job of like preparing me for the role. So.
Mm. So, did you always have like your eyes set on being a manager, or is this something that you just kind of fell into?
Man, I fell into it in high school. So in high school, man, I wanted to hoop, wasn't good enough. So it's one of those situations where it's like, hey, man, you can stay around and stuff by being a manager, man. So I started off like just doing the books for my team, like the scorebook. Started
Mm.
doing that, and then I kind of got into like more of like a manager role as far as man, like anything you can name, laundry, bottles, towels. I was doing it all, man. Like it was like I said, nothing too small, nothing too big, and it actually got me ready for college. Like it humbled me really. So it was like a heck of an experience.
Mm. So you weren't like one of the people who was just because most of us had hoop dreams. You wanted to be pro and everything, and of course, you fall short because
It's
that's
hard,
usually
man.
for the stars. It's hard,
Special percentage. Nah, man,
man.
I never had the hoop dreams, man. I was a football guy through and through, man, and I just did like the basketball stuff, like during the off season of football and everything like that, and honestly, it turned into something that I fallen in love with. So I just ran with it.
Mm. So when you were in high school, you were like football number one, but basketball something you kind of did on the side.
Yeah, man. Yeah, football was definitely that was the bread and butter. That was just the basketball was just something, man, because I love sports. I love being around sports, so it was like a great pastime.
Got you. Okay, now I'm getting a picture of how you were because you had some guys who were just really good at both. Then you had some guys who football was number one and basketball kind of like just extra exercise or vice versa. Basketball number one, football is kind of that. So now I see what line you kind of
Yeah.
stand in. So I got you. So when it came to being the manager in high school, was that something that were you kind of like begrudgingly doing it, or you just like you love being around the game so much that you just like, all right, you ain't mind doing it?
I just like being around it, man. Like I'm big on like that locker room camaraderie, family, team stuff, man. So it was just like an extra extension of a family for me,
Mm.
honestly. Like I didn't look at it as like, oh man, I gotta hand out these bottles or I gotta do this laundry or anything like that, man. I just looked at it like, hey man, this is my part. Like I want to be a part of something. This is my role. This is how I'm a part of it. I might not be. I'm not the one out there calling the plays or making the shots, but man, this is how I contribute. So took
Mm.
pride in that.
So what did you learn about that process that you feel like has helped you out in this position now?
Man, just not being too big for anything, really.
Mm.
Like not being too. I mean, like I'm sitting here, like then, man, I'm handing out bottles to dudes, man. Like when they graduate, they're gonna be working at Walmart or something like that. You know, some of these dudes they ain't going to college. If they go to college, they just gonna be regular students. I mean, I'm just doing it. I'm just doing it out of the love for the game, man. Just being around and stuff like that. So it kind of just really kept me humble. Like because like
Mm.
once I got to college, it was like a smooth transition because I had already been doing it. Like I had already been wiping the floor. I had already been handing out bottles. I had already been doing laundry. So it was like easy. Like that's how I was able to kind of catch on at UAB so well because it's like I already had experience in doing it compared to like most guys when they end up being managers in colleges because like you said, the hoop dreams died. And
Yeah.
like that's like some people that's the only way they can still be around it. And I feel like those guys have hard times adjusting simply because like they come there with like these false intentions. Like they say, "Oh, I want to be a manager," but they really trying to do that to try and sneak into like a walk on spot. Me, it
Mm-hmm.
was purely I was like, man, I want to be a manager because I want to get into coaching. Like I knew
Yeah.
from day one, like, hey, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna get into coaching from it. Like this is how I'm gonna work my way up from the ground level to the top. So that was kind of my outlook on it.
So why'd you choose basketball instead of football?
Man, it's so exciting. It's nothing like it, man. Like just like the pace of the game, the athletes, like it's just the environment is like insane. Really, like
Mm.
that's what kind of drew me to it. And then it's like I knew a lot about football, but it's like basketball. Like man, I started like kind of messing with it like around like the seventh, eighth grade. Compared to football, I've been doing it since I was like 5. So it was a new
Mm.
challenge. Like sitting there and like I didn't come in off the bat, knowing all the X's and O's. Like I didn't know, like one 1-2-1, the 1-3-1 zone, 1-2-2 net. I didn't know any of that stuff. Like everything was like new to me. Like it was like trying to teach somebody like a foreign language. And I
Mm.
just sat there over the course of time and just started picking up on different stuff, picking up, studying, watching the game more because I feel like one of the best ways to learn it is to watch it. Like you got to sit out here and try and go and sit down. People talk to people about it and stuff like that. Man, just watch it. And really, that's what I did. I kind of just tried to turn myself into a student of the game.
Mm. So what did you learn from once you started getting into this position now, like film watching, everything you've been doing lately?
Mhm.
What happened, or what did you learn that you just like, wow, I didn't understand this detail about the game before I started like watching film at this level, especially when you're talking about a D1 school?
Just like the preparation piece of it, like man, like it's like insane, like how detailed, like depending on who you work for, depending on what coach you work for, like everybody has like they're like what they believe is like the best thing out that they think is like this is how we're going to win the game. Some people it's over analyzing scout. It's like doing scouts, like deep dive, detailed scouts, and some people it's not. And I've had the pleasure of being around both. I've had the pleasure, man, of being around people where hey man, like we need to know, hey, the coach is holding up a fist. What play are they running? I've been
Mm-hmm.
around coaches like that, and I've been around coaches like, man, it don't matter what they do, we're gonna do what we do, and that's how we're gonna win.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna impose our will. So it's just like from that like video aspect side of it, it's just like insane to see like the way that some people like break the game down, like how they break it down, like as far as like they're knowing like, okay, hey, when this team is in this situation, this is what they're going to. Like, hey, when the ball's out on the sideline, they always go there 1-3-1 zone. Different things like that, just picking
Mm-hmm.
up on like different niches and stuff like that. And also like just like the player development aspect part of it. Like being able, because like we have a software that's called Synergy. You can go on Synergy and anybody, I think they started in 2005. So like anybody who played basketball from 2005 to this point, you can go on Synergy and you can pull up. any basket they've ever made. You can pull up any shot they've ever attempted, any assist, steal, block. You can pull all of it up. So just being able to kind of use that aspect and like the player development side of things, like as far as like, okay, I see that such and such struggles, going to his right. So hey man, in the off season we need to work on this. Like we need to turn this weakness into a strength. So just the different stuff like that. Like that's kind of where like the video side, like doing actually having to work with the film and stuff like that and break it down, just kind of like evolved my mind a little bit more.
Mm. So when it comes to well, currently you're not like a coach. When it comes to like your coaching style,
Mm.
which one have you felt like you've leaned more to, or are you kind of like a big blend of both?
Man, I like to blend it, man. I like to blend it, but I know too, like at the same time, for you to impose your will, you got to have some players that can impose their will. So like that's like a big part to it, man. Like, but like I'm big on as far as like I want to be able to impose my will, but I also want to be able to kind of like know different things. Like I want to have someone who knows like, hey man, in these situations, he kind of like to do this. Like what are their tendencies? Like I'm not gonna sit there and be like, hey man, what play are they running right now? Like what are they doing? Like what the coach is holding up his fist. What does that mean? I'm not gonna really be that guy, but like I mean, if it's like a common set that they run, like every coach has like a common set that they always run, they always get to. So I like to pay attention to stuff like that, but for the most part, man, just control the controllables, man. Control what you can control.
Mm. All right. So how did you end up at UAB in the first place? Like from
Man,
Mobile to Birmingham, what was that journey like?
so originally coming out of high school, man, I wanted to play football. So I was coming to UAB to be a walk on. And things with that fell through. So it was like, man, I turned to my second option, man. It's always my second option, basketball. And once I got to that, man, it was just one of those situations where I just fell in love with it. It was fun. It was like, I mean, it had its days. Like in the beginning, it was a little tough just because like these guys don't know me, so it's like you're sitting here, you're having to learn, you're having to learn how to interact with 15 other guys. You got to earn their trust. Then you got your coaching staff. You got to earn their trust too. So it was some days it was tough. It was some days where I'm going home like, God, leave, man. Like, shoot, man, this stuff rough, man. Like these dudes don't even know my name. Like I'm sitting here, man. I'm wiping up these dudes' sweat. I'm handing out bottles, man, and I'm doing laundry. These dudes don't even know my name. So,
Hmm.
but just kept my head down, man. Just kept grinding, just kept working, man. I vividly remember, like I called my mom every day my freshman year of college. Like I'm coming home, I'm coming home, I'm coming home. I ain't doing it, man. I can't stay in Birmingham. I can't do it. And she was just like, man, just hold on. If you feel like this at Christmas break, I'll let you come home. I got home for Christmas break. I said, yeah, I want to come home. She's like, just finish the year off and see how you feel. And after that, man, I was locked in, man. Birmingham has been like, of course, it's been my second home.
Mm. Yeah, I was gonna ask you like, what made you stay through it if it was so bad at first, but it was like mainly your mom.
Yeah, man. Mom's like made like one thing, like she doesn't play, like she don't play like the whole start and something, not finishing it. She was like, nah, you at least got to like see it through and finish it through. And then over the course of time, man, I just kept working and like people just noticed it. And from there, those relationships started building. The trust was there. So that's really kind of what kept me around.
So you talked about struggling to earn their trust and getting them to know you and kind of recognize you. What
Mhm.
did you do to earn the coach's trust and earn the player's trust?
And the best ability is availability. I was available. Like whenever I was called on, no matter what it was. Hey Josh, I need you to run over here and do this. I need you. Hey man, I need a rebounder at 11 p.m. at night. Oh hey man, we got an official visit coming in. I need you to go do this. Like I was just available. I was around. I just latched on, man, and stayed around. Like I was one of like the only managers at the time. Like I'm in the office. Like I don't got a space in our office, but like literally we had an operations guy named Rob Williams who was like fortunate enough to like just let me like I was sitting in his office all day. I could just soak up everything. So I was just always around. And it was to the point they were like, okay, man, like this dude's like showing up. Like, let's see if okay, he's doing this right. Let's see if he can handle this. And they give me that task and I handle it. All right, well, let's add a little bit more to him. So that's kind of how I was able to kind of grow.
Mm. So the same thing with the player. Did you earn the trust that way too?
Exactly. Yeah, man. Just being reliable. Like being somebody they could call on no matter what it was. Hey man, like some of the guys in our cars. Hey man, you think you can take me to Walmart and stuff like that, and then rebounding for them and stuff like. after we rebound, man, you'll sit down and you'll just kind of have like real conversations with those dudes, and then you kind of get to the point where you realize, like, dang, man, like, all right, I'm from Mobile, Alabama, you're from Savannah, Georgia, but like we got a lot of stuff, like we got a lot of similarities, man. We like the same type of music, we kind of
Mm.
like to do the same type of things. We've been through some of the same stuff, so just being able, like, I really think that's kind of too what's helped me like stick around as long as I have, just being able to have the connections with people.
Mm. So when it comes to like you said, just kind of being available and being willing to do whatever it takes. Did you ever have any like pride issues of being like, bro, you asked me to do what? Like, come on, bro. Like it's 11 p.m. Like, did you have any issue with that at all? Or was it just,
Man,
being willing to play the role?
the only issue I've ever had an issue with, this another guy. He can attest to this. He's from Selma. His name is William Lee. We were in the middle of a game my freshman year, and I tried to give him his bottle, and he slapped it out of my hand to the ground, and I kind of like bucked up at him, and literally that's how our relationship started. Like I bucked up at him in the middle of the game, and then everybody was like, "Whoa, like, hey man, calm down, calm down." And after the game, he came to me and said, "Hey man, it's just the heat of the moment, man. I ain't really mean that." I was like, "Man, I ain't mean it either, but I just couldn't let that slide." So
Yeah.
it's just like that's how our relationship was formed. Like that's how we became like cool and everything like that. Still cool to this day. So
Mm. You think that was like a low key test of being like, let me see this dude about, see if I can punk him?
nah, man, I think it's just like just heat of the moment, man. Man, when the bullets get to flying, man, you have to. Some dudes, not saying that he lost his composure or anything like that.
Yeah, I get it.
He was just frustrated. So he was just like, man, I don't like just slapped it like I don't want it. And it's just one of them
Mhm.
situations. I'm just, not saying I'm not gonna sit here and play like no tough guy role or anything like that. I mean, it just comes a time, you have to stand up for yourself. I mean, that's one
Yeah.
of those situations where I probably laid down with it. Probably none negative would have happened, but it could also be one of those situations where it's like, all right, I did it once, I can do something like this again. So, but never been like proud or anything like that, man. I'm telling, I've had to do it all, man. I'm talking, I had stuff planned, and it's like, hey, man, can you do this? And I'm like, hey, y'all, man, I can't make it no more. I can't do it no more. I got to change this. So, it was what it was.
Mm. So from being grad assistant into the full time role,
Mhm.
did you want to stay at UAB or did you have other options stuff? Like, what was that like for you?
Yeah, man. So, my boss at the time, Robert Eason, was the first coach to get let go in COVID. Like
Mm.
the basketball world shut down our conference tournament on like a Friday. That Saturday, I was out to eat. I was out to eat at brunch, and literally, like, I didn't have service, so people just texting my phone, like blowing my phone up. And I stepped outside where I had service, and it literally was the first headline of ESPN that he had been let go. So now I'm sitting there like, man, like what's going on? Like, what am I gonna do? Because like I was real close with him, and we had a relationship to the point where he had already told me, like, hey man, like you're gonna be my grad assistant this year. Like it's no questions asked, like you're good. And for him to be let go, and now for a new coach to come in, and I had to kind of earn my way again. Like I'll never forget my boss, Andy Kennedy, he got the job like that second week in March, and I was there at his press conference. When his press conference ended, I walked up to him, shook his hand, introduced myself, told him who I was, told him what I wanted to do. And he told me, he was like, "Hey man, okay, I'm gonna keep that in mind and everything like that. I don't really have any like promises for you. Like I can't promise you anything." And it was a sticky situation because we already had one GA whose name was Aaron Johnson, UAB legend, jerseys and the Raptors retired. So I mean, we usually only have two GAs, so I know he's got a GA spot. He's good. And then we ended up with the new staff coming in. They brought in one of our assistant coaches brought in someone with him that was going to be the other grad assistant. So that was kind of like a little discouraging because I'm like, man, we're only going to have like two, and like both of these spots, like man, they like full now.
Mm.
But man, my guy, my mentor, Rob Williams, like he just told me, it's like, hey man, just stick with it. So like literally after my boss got that job, me and Rob Williams were in that office from like 9 to 3, 9 to 4, every single day, Monday through Friday, just grinding, like no matter what it was. Like, hey man, let's figure out this gear for these dudes when they come in. We need to figure out this film aspect, man. Coach needs XYZ. Like I'm working for him, like, he's hired me. Like I'm like something's guaranteed. And I just showed up every single day. And I had some other schools, but I knew UAB was where I wanted to be. I had some other schools reach out with opportunities like, hey man, like you can come down here. And I kind of was holding off on them because I was just praying that UAB would be where I could end up at, and probably like I want to say I up there Monday through Friday, 9 to 4, like every day from all through March, April, May, June, July, and school started like August, like 20th or something that year. Like school started, so it was to the point, man. He came to me like that last week in July, and he was like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna keep you on. I'm gonna keep you around, man." He was like, "It's hard. I can't I can't kick you out. I mean, you've been here every single day. Like you showed up every day. Like them the type of people that we need around here, like everyday dudes." So literally, that's how I was able to slip through the cracks and stay on.
Hey, relax. It's okay. Listen, I understand that your goal is so big that it just feels daunting. It just feels overwhelming. Like you're trying to get to the NBA, you're trying to get to WNBA, you're trying to play D1 college ball. I understand sometimes that feels like a lot. But listen, you're not gonna make that jump from now tomorrow to be to the league or be in D1. So let's just slow down and focus on the whole journey. Enjoy where you're at right now, but don't get too comfortable. You have to still keep working. You still have to make some type of progress and still keep growing. All you gotta do is think about this. If the minimum I can do today is get 1% better, you winning. Because there are some people gonna take a step backwards. There are some people that's gonna stop and just be equal. But technically, you're not gonna be equal because I'm getting better than you, so it means you fell backwards now. And so you gotta get 1% better. Because it's a slow grind from where you're at now to where you want to get to. You don't have to worry about taking over the world in one day. Just take over step by step, one piece at a time, 1% better. It's a whole journey. Okay, you got this goal that's just hanging over you, weighing you down. But this goal, the end destination, it's not gonna change. So you have to appreciate the journey and taking steps to get there. You're a marathon runner, but the whole marathon is about focusing on that next step. So I need you to go ahead and look at whichever one you want. You can get this one of the other ones. But I need you to get this reminder for you. Get you a hoodie, a t-shirt, whichever one, as a reminder that progress is my only goal. And progress don't mean I'm perfect. Progress don't mean I'm there. Progress means I'm getting better. Because better and better adds up to being the best you that you can be. But the best is not existing because you're always going to get better. So get you this peaceful reminder right here to say, hey, all I gotta do is be a little bit better, 1% better, and I'll get to that goal at some point. So remember, it's about the entire journey and not just the end goal, because progress is the only goal. How hard was that to stay diligent with that, knowing you didn't have a guarantee?
Man, it was tough, man. I remember I moved out of my apartment at the time because I was like, man, I'm not finna sign another lease and stuff like that. And fortunately, man, I have family. I have an aunt and uncle that live in Birmingham, so man, they let me stay with them the entire summer for free, not one payment. I was working that whole time that summer, spending all day working for free, man. So I was like burning through my savings and stuff like that. Just make gas in my car, food and stuff like that, man. I was just burning, like my savings like was just getting burnt through. But it's just like you got to take a risk. You got to bet on yourself sometimes. And that was me betting on myself. I was like, man, I'm going to do what I got to do to turn this into a reality. So that's kind of how I was able to do it. But man, there was days it was hard because it's like, man, you're getting discouraged. Like, especially like you saw that second GA come in. And it's like, man, I know we usually only have two, and it's like, that spot's already gone. Like both of those spots are gone. So it's like, man, like what you gonna do, man? Like, but I just stayed diligent with it, man. Just stayed the course and just believed in myself and believed in my plan. Like when I was a freshman, I wrote down kind of like how I wanted to do this thing, like how the steps I wanted to take, where I wanted to be by this age, and different things like that. And so far, man, I've been sticking to it. It's been tried and true.
Mm. I respect that, bro, because I think about stuff like that all the time. Like how much would I be willing to dedicate for something like that? Like I have my vision and dreams and stuff, but like that's really like a non-guarantee. You could have spent that whole summer and just burnt through your savings and could have hit zero and just been like, man, I appreciate what you did, but I don't think we have a spot for you, man. And like you could have easily went to another school, or you could say you had other opportunities, man. So
Yeah, yeah.
I respect that, bro. Like, I'm
Yeah,
glad it worked out for you because that's
I'm
nice.
glad it did too, man. But like, man, at that age, man, being 24 years old, man, this is kind of the age where you have to take those risks, where you can afford to take those risks.
Mm,
So that was kind of like my mindset with it, man. Just betting on myself, man. I knew I could do it. I knew I was
yeah.
capable. I just had to prove it.
I think that's one of those moments that everybody kind of has that crossroads moment,
Hmm.
and it's like, okay, I can keep going down this path of safe or more of a guarantee route, which isn't necessarily wrong. It
No,
is
it's
what
not,
it is.
man. To each his own.
Yeah. Or you can go the other route, and it's like, it's a little shaky on this limb out here, man. This ain't the thickest branch we walking out on too, bro. But
Exactly, man. But you gotta have that. You gotta have that faith, man. Like that's what I'm big on that, man. I'm big on faith. I'm big on, just leaning on the work, man. Like I know I work hard. I know what I'm capable of. Like I said, I just had to show it. Just had to have that opportunity. Like that's one thing. Like in our locker room, we have posters like all around. Like grateful for the opportunity, and I'm forever grateful to my boss for the opportunity and the people that were before me. Like I'm grateful to Robert Eson for him extending his hand to me and opening his doors to me. Robert Williams, Turner Battle, Kevin Devitt, Alex Church, all those guys, man. Like they literally just took me in and they all gave me an opportunity. So I'm always grateful for that.
mm. So if you had to um take me back to that moment when he finally said you got the position, was it like how did you feel? Like, did you feel like a sigh of relief? It was just like, oof, the
Yeah, man.
grind like is worth it, or like you decided? How'd you feel after that?
Man, it was like mixed emotions, man. Because it's like, man, I was like crazy. I was crazy excited, like crazy excited about the situation, opportunity. It was kind of like a breath of fresh air because it's like, all right, man, you've been doing all this work. Now you kind of got a guarantee, but it was just too like, all right, now you got to shift gears. Like, okay, like this, you've been grinding trying to get the spot. Now you got the spot. Now it's time for you to figure out how to shine in the spot, and
Mm,
do what you have to do. So it was quick change, man. It was like, all right, man, I've been grinding, 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 showing my worth this way, like showing my worth with availability. Now I'm giving some opportunities and some tasks like, hey, I'm starting to, hey, man, we need you to, like, one thing I was tasked with, I had to learn Photoshop. So like I literally I kid you not, like I sat down like that whole summer and basically kind of like with help from other people, like my guy Alex Church, he runs his own graphic design company. He helped me out a lot, like big time. Like he was able to kind of, give me like some pillars to build upon. And from
mm,
there, man, I just took it and ran with it. So now for like all of our recruiting stuff, like I do all of our graphics for our recruiting and things like that. So that was real, like that was big time, like me having to learn that. Like that was like a great skill for me to pick up on. Really glad that I did because I kind of got pushed towards it a little bit because he was just like, yeah, man, I'm gonna keep you on everything like that, and we need somebody that can like do graphics. And I'm just one of
mm,
the dudes like when they come like they be like, hey, we need this. I'm gonna automatically say, yeah, I can do it, even if I can't, because I'm gonna find somebody that can if I can't. You know what I mean?
mm.
Like I'm gonna get it figured out regardless. So he was like, can you do graphics and stuff? I'm like, yeah, man, I can do graphics. Hadn't done a graphic ever in my life, but it was just one of those situations. I'm like, man, I'm gonna figure this out. Like I'm gonna get to the point where like I'm not great at it. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I probably say I'm a 5, but
Mm,
I do enough to get the job done, to get what we need done. So
mm. All right, so take me to where you got the position, you got the job. What was next for you in that journey?
man, Mets was just kind of becoming like a student of the game again. Like learn because like we have a completely new staff, so just learning things from them. Like we had Ryan Cross who came in from Louisiana Monroe. He's like insane on the recruiting side. Like this dude, like when he was at Louisiana Monroe, man, he was like signing like the whole roster by himself. Like that type of like he's a grinder. So like just
Mm,
being around him, picking up on like some of his skills and stuff like that. Like that was like big time. Being around Philip Pearson, who has like like 20 plus years of experience in the SEC. So just picking his brain. Terry Parker, who came from Indiana State, him being kind of like a younger guy who looked like me. He's an African American guy, so it was cool like being able to be around him, being able to learn from him, pick his brain because he's good on the player development side. Like he was big and like helping us like develop Jordan Walker. Jordan Walker, skilled as he is, he was going to be who he is regardless. But
Mhm.
seeing like TP's hands on him, being able to learn from him and different things like that, and then being around my boss Andy Kennedy, like that's like life changing. Like dude's like an offensive guru. Like his mind is like insane. Like people don't even like realize like most coaches like they have their system, they have what they do and they stick to it. He doesn't. Like he conforms to the players. Like he is a true
Mhm.
players coach. Like depending upon what players we have is how we're gonna like our offense every year changed. Like the first year we ran kind of like we've been together 3 years. The first year we kind of ran like a continuity type offense. The second year was kind of more free flowing. We were into like a lot of Iverson stuff and things like that. And this year, man, we were kind of in that Iverson floppy, different sets and stuff like that. Like every single year, like he's like transformed. Like his offensive mind is insane.
Mhm.
Just being like around those guys, man, like that was the next challenge. Like, let's see how much I can get from these guys. Let's see how much I can learn from these guys and pull from their brain.
I respect the type of coaching too because you see a lot of times where a coach, especially in college, because you kind of have like a guy for 3, 4, sometimes 5 years, and it's like I'm stuck with what I have. Like as a player, you're stuck with this coach, but that might not be the best fit for you. And
Mm-hmm.
as a coach, you're kind of stuck with this player. I know the transfer portal changed things, but like there are still people who are like, I'm riding through here.
Mm-hmm.
But to have a coach that's open and flexible enough to say, hey,
Oh yeah,
oh, you're a great player with the pick and roll. Bet let's figure out this pick and roll. Figure out how pieces can fit around here. So like,
exactly, man. Because like that's how it was. Like, man, we got jelly, man. We figured out, man, this dude can like really shoot the ball. Like he can really, really like really, really shoot the ball. So it was to the point like we were running like a lot of baseline. Like he made a living like running off like those double screens on the baseline, those staggers and different stuff like that. Like that was kind of year one. That was like his game, man. Running off the screens, like having people chasing him and stuff like that. And this past year, man, just like over the summer developing and stuff like that, man, his handling stuff got better, and man, he was able like as everybody in America saw, man, before he went down with his foot injury, man, he was leading the country in scoring. Like this dude was like scoring the ball at an insanely high clip. So it's just one of those situations where like we didn't have that year one, but we did year two. So coach kind of conformed the offense to that. Hey man, we're gonna get into this type of stuff for him. And then year three, we had him and Eric Gaines. So it's like a lot of stuff kind of showcase those guys, and that's kind of how he does it, man. Like I said, man, he's like an amazing mind, like
mm,
insane mind, insane offensive mind. Like the way he just sees the game, the way he reads the game. Like his favorite saying is he tells the guys like, like I'm over here on the sideline, there's nobody guarding me, so I see it, I see everything. Just trust me, trust me, trust that the plays I'm calling the right plays. So, nah, he's
mm.
like insane, man.
So tell me about. You don't have to go in detail about this. Tell me about the development of Jordan, but from the lens of you have a guy who is pro potential.
Mm.
How do you train him for the team and train him for his future? How do you prepare him for like right now and for the future, being that he's a pro caliber player?
Man, you just kind of really just keep honing in on the skills that he has, man. Just keep sharpening those skills. So of course, like man, we work out, we're gonna get plenty of shots up, man. We're gonna get a bunch of catch and shoots. We're gonna get a lot of that action of him running off those screens. Like we made sure the work was intentional. Like some guys they go out there and they work on like these things that you're only gonna do like once a game or something like that. And don't get me wrong, we worked on that stuff too, but we still kept the main thing the main thing. Like, hey man, I know for a fact coach is gonna call this play. You're gonna get shots from this spot. Like, let's get these shots. Let's hit
Mm-hmm.
these right here. Let's get these. And then, of course, like the summer, like in my opinion, man, the summertime is really when you start adding stuff to your bag. Like that's the time when you work on you. That's the time when you
Yeah.
try and, develop different more skills. When you're in the season, man, you're just trying to keep that thing. You're just changing the oil, man. You're just keeping the car good, making sure that the car is running and different stuff like that. So that's kind of like how like his development stuff like that happened. Like like I said, man, Coach Parker, man, he was like tremendous with him to the point, man. They doing 6 a.m.s, man. Like, dude's a tireless worker. Like, this dude's he's gonna work out in the morning. He's gonna come practice. He's gonna shoot afterwards. Like, it's times in the game where, man, you hear people, they're like, man, what kind of shot is that he's taking? And I'm sitting back there like, man, I'm not mad at it because he works on it. Like, he deserves to have the opportunity to take those shots because he actually works on those shots. It's not like he's just going out there and just throwing stuff up. Man, I mean, I've seen him work on those shots. I've seen him make those shots. So, I mean, I was one of his biggest believers. Like, when the ball left his hands, I'm thinking it's good.
Mm.
And from three, man, 40% of the time this past season, it was good. So I'll take that.
So tell me the difference you saw between Jordan, who was, of course, a good college player, but a potential pro, and other guys you saw in the conference or just around the nation who were just really good or great college players, but they didn't have like the pro backing behind them. Like, what's the difference between just a college great player and a potential pro player?
Man, the difference really, man, of those intangibles, man, like, really, like, it all has to make sense, man. Like, the way that the league is now, man, they love like those athletes. Like, you got to be an athlete, man. Like, the thing that hurts some of these college players are, man, like, they're good in college, but as far as like translating to the next level, like athleticism wise, like, it just doesn't work out. Like, I mean, look at the situation. Like, man, Herb Jones was the SEC player of the year, the defensive player of the year, like the best player in the SEC. And at that time, the SEC was the best league. And I mean, he wasn't even like he didn't even get a chance to be a lottery pick. Like, that just shows you, like, and he's a hell of a player. That just shows you how difficult it is. Like, you mean to tell me this dude was the SEC player of the year and he couldn't get there? And I'm in Conference USA scoring 15 a game, 5 rebounds, like, it's tough, man. It's tough. Like, but you can tell, like, those dudes who have like that pro in them, man. You can just, after being around the game for a while, man, you can kind of tell the ones that's like, man, like, his game's gonna translate. Like, this will translate. Like, like Jordan, can score the ball. He can shoot the ball at an extremely crazy clip. Like, okay, the NBA might not be it, but he's gonna like make money professionally. Like, he's going to be a professional basketball player somewhere. Like, I just know he is. He works hard. Like, he's gonna find his way. Like, he's just one of those guys that's literally, like I said, he's just gonna find his way. Same thing. Like, we got Trey Jemison. Like, Trey Jemison, look at, like, Trey Jemison has a NBA body.
Yeah.
He has the NBA body. He went to the Portsmouth. He measured at 6'10" with like a 7'2" wingspan, 260 pounds. Like, dude is like a freak of nature. And like, due to that and due to what he was able to do this past season, like, man, I think he had like 4 or 5 different workouts and stuff set up, man. Like, there's real talks about him making a summer league roster and stuff like that. So, just based off of stuff like that, like, it all has to make sense, like the full body of work, like the size, the athleticism, the numbers and different things like that. It all has to make sense.
Mm. So I think sometimes the average fan gets too caught up in just what they see. So it's like, oh, he's putting up 20 a game, or she's doing X, Y, and Z, and it's like, why aren't they going pro? Or why isn't she, good enough to make it to the next level? And
Exactly.
like you said, there's so many smaller details that go into it. Like, yes, you might be a great player in this system or in this conference or whatever, but it's like the NBA is
It's
not that.
levels, man.
It's,
Levels to it,
yeah.
man. It's like in college too, man. Like, there's certain dudes who are able to do like certain things, like they're able to dribble the ball, 20 times and get a shot off. Like, in the
Mm-hmm.
league, man, bro, there's one dude per roster who can like get away with stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just like you go out there like Jelly, like the stuff that he's doing for us, like the way he was able to dribble the ball and create for us and create for himself. Like, when you get to the NBA, man, like I said, there's one dude per roster who's like doing that. Like, so it's just like they're looking for guys who can kind of like fit in the roles and stuff like that. Like, that's why you see like these 3-and-D guys and stuff like that. Like, they're drafting dudes off of, okay, man, how can he fit in? Like, okay, he might not be the best, he might not be the best scorer, but we don't need a scorer, we need a defender. So who's the best defender available right now? Different
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Aside from like the generational talents like Victor, and Scoot Henderson and them dudes, like, them dudes, that was a generational talents. But like those
Mm-hmm.
other guys, like there's a guy from Birmingham, he's gonna end up getting drafted. I think he's gonna have a great pro career. I think he's like the second coming of Malcolm Brogdon. Kobe Jones, that was at Xavier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude's a killer, and I think he's gonna find his way into the league, and I think he's gonna be able to stick based off like his skills, man. He can score the ball, he can rebound, he can pass, he can defend. That type of stuff is like what they're looking for in the league, man. They're not necessarily looking for these guys to go out here and score. Hey man, I don't need you to come out here and score 30 points. Like, that's not what we need, So just different stuff like that, man. It's just so like detail based now. Like, these teams know what they want. They know what they're going after. So
Mm. So take me to the other side of it. High school players get into college. I think I think that view is even more skewed because everybody thinks that
it is, man.
every best player from their school, oh, they going to college, they should go D1, they should go this.
It is. It's insane because it's like, man, people like they'll call your phone and be like, "Hey, man, I'm telling you, man, this kid can play at UAB." And it's like, how are you so sure of that? Like, how many UAB games did you watch this year? Like, that's the type of question I ask. How many games did you watch this year? I watched two or three. And you mean to tell me from two or three games, you telling me that such and such can play? Like, nah, man. Like, it's so misconstrued, like in high school, because like you said, everybody thinks that, oh man, just because he's the best player on his team, that it's gonna translate. And I mean, that's not the case. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
really not. Like, it's like half of these dudes, bro. Like, he's scoring 20 a game. He's right hand dominant. He can't go to his left. He can't dribble with his left hand. He can't come off a ball screen with his left hand. He can't make a left hand layup. Like, and this is like, you saying that this dude can play here? Like, nah, man, he can't. You know, it's different levels to it, man. And like you said, there's just so many people, and I think the problem too is, man, there's so many people who like like feed into the nonsense. Like these kids, like they're like, oh man, like, oh yeah, man, my son, he's they just dropped the rankings for the class of 2032, and he's the number 7 player in the country, and it's like, dude, like, yeah, because but is that going to translate from like 10 years from now, how many ever years it takes them to get to college? Like, people get caught up in that, man, and they stop working, honestly. That's what I feel like, man. Like, dudes, they get a little publicity, they get a little clout, they get a little hype and stuff like that, and they don't like keep that same hunger. They don't keep working, man, and they flame out, you know?
Look, let's be serious, man. Stop playing around. All right. You didn't got too comfortable. You didn't got relaxed. You forgot that you still got people behind you chasing you right now. You still got people to catch up to. You think just because you won a championship or you had a pretty good game last time that you can relax now. We ain't worry about none of that stuff. Your goal right now is to look at how you were yesterday. Look at the player you were last night. Figure out how to be better than that person. Right now is you versus you. Your goal right now is to make progress in the person that you were last night, the person that you were yesterday. Be the person this week should be the person from last week. The person this month should be the person from last month. On the court and off the court. Personal development too. So right now, progress is the only goal. We ain't worried about what other people got going on. Focus on progress. It's you versus you. It's me versus me. So that right there is your mission. That's your goal. I don't care about who say the best in state is. Who I don't care about any of that. Your goal right now is to be better than you were yesterday. I don't care if you struggle to make the team. I don't care if you the last player they're looking at to make the team. We ain't worry about none of that. Your goal right now is to be better than you were yesterday. I don't care if you're the number one player in the nation. Could care less. Your goal right now is to be better than you were yesterday. So go ahead and get you one of these because you need that reminder because you got too comfortable. That's the issue. You got too comfortable. This can't get you comfortable right here. So go ahead, get you a reminder, get you like a flag hanging as a reminder to say progress is on the goal. Yeah, I think that's one of the worst things for the youth. If they see these rankings and stuff like, oh, I'm number one as a
Yeah,
fifth grade, I'm number one as a sixth grade, and it's like, bro, like you still like got a whole another 10 years, man. Like, what
come
are you
on,
talking
man.
about, bro?
Yeah,
Like,
man. You got a lot ahead of you, man. And it's just like I said, man. Like, these dudes, it's hard, man, because it's like there's so many high schools, and you're competing for like these scholarship spots, man. And it's tough. It's real tough, especially with the way that the transfer portal is now, man. It's like, okay, man, like, why would I go out here and take this high schooler who hasn't played a college game before, who hasn't proven anything, when I can go in this portal and, oh man, this kid scored 12 a game in Rhode Island last year. Like, he's proven. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take the proven over the experiment, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
some of those high school kids are worth the experiment, you know. Like certain ones are. So it's just one of those situations, man. To each his own. Like to whoever your boss is, man. Like every coach has their own philosophy. They have like there's some people who live and die by the transfer portal. There's some people who teeter totter both lines, you know. So teach their own.
All right. So, all right, help me out here, man. I'm a young um 10th, 11th grader. I want to play at UAB, man.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to be working on? What do I need to be looking at? What is like the roadmap that you can give me to say, hey, if you want to play at UAB, here are certain things you need to be working on and doing to make sure that you. I'm not saying you're guaranteed, but here's like you put yourself in a really good position to be able to even be looked at by UAB to say, hey, let's at least think about bringing you on.
Man, you need to got to be able to score the ball. Got to be able to score the ball, man. You got to kind of really be well rounded. But it's really, like I said, it's dependent on kind of like what we have and what we don't have, and like what we're out here looking for. But we're always gonna be looking for like the best available, you know. So really, just like owning your situation, like wherever you are. If it's you're in Mobile, hey man, you need to work on being the best player in Mobile first. Then after you
Mm-hmm.
work on being the best player in Mobile, man, you need to work on being the best player in the state. And from there, just keep climbing, just keep working, man. Like, and then two, like a big piece is exposure, man. Like, there's a lot of people who end up playing for like these AAU teams who don't give them much exposure, or they play for like these high school teams who, man, when it's Christmas break, man, they only playing in local tournaments. They only playing like when they play for these AAU teams. As far as like I know teams in Mobile, like AAU wise, man, as far as they go is from Mobile to like Pensacola. You know what I mean? Like I feel
Mm-hmm.
like the hotbed for basketball in the state of Alabama right now is northern. It's like the northern part. Of course, don't get me wrong. Like the South and stuff has like good players and stuff like that. But just up here, like being up here around it, there's a lot of like really good players up here, man. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of development and stuff like that goes on. So it's just one of those situations where you just kind of got to master each level. Like I said, best in your city, best in your area first, best in your city, try and get best in the state, and from there, try and just be able to get on the platform to like showcase your game.
Mm. So I'm glad you said that because I've been kind of debating in my mind. I've heard little argument stuff in here and there about which one gets you more exposure, which one makes more sense. Should you play school ball and focus on developing and growing there, or should you focus a little bit more on AAU and travel ball? So like, which one do you think gets the best exposure to your level?
I think the one that gets that best exposure is the AAU, because in turn, man, you end up catching on to the high school ones based off of that. Like you'll see a kid at a Peach Jam or something like that, and it's like, okay, cool, man. Oh man, what school does he go to? And it's like, oh, he goes to such and such high school, and that's how like that door gets open, you know. But like at the same time, you still got to keep that high school, like that's important, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
that, like winning in high school is like very, very important. Like you got to be able to do that. You got to own that situation in turn in order to even have the opportunity to be successful on the AU circuit. And I feel like it's all based off of that exposure, man. Like playing for like not even necessarily playing for like the best sponsored team or whatever, but just being able to be in the building with those guys, like being
Mm-hmm.
at those tournaments that they're going to be at. So that way
Yeah.
you get the opportunity to showcase, like, because like the two kids, they're gonna be lottery picks this year, the Thompson twins. Those guys they played for Florida Pro Hoops, which was a non-sponsored team, but they played at these hoop singing events and different stuff like that. And dude, like they busting like circuit teams up, dude. Like they
Mm-hmm.
running like these circuit teams can't do nothing with them. Like they killing them, bro. Matter of fact, I forgot they had another kid that's gonna be a lottery pick, Taylor Hendricks, that was at UCF. They were all on this AAU team together, man, and they were just like busting dudes up. And it's like they didn't have a sponsorship or anything like that, but they were just in the right places. They were in the right. Don't get me wrong; they would have been seen regardless. But that's just like an example. Like they were in the right place to be seen.
Mm-hmm. So take me through a kid that is at a smaller school. They're at a 1A, 2A, 3A, or whatever, and they're doing business at school, but they can't find or they're maybe not getting the recognition that they want to get from a AAU's team. So like, how can they manage that out? They have to just like figure it out and get to a better AAU team, or like how can they figure that situation out?
Yeah, man, you got to try and find that right situation for you, man. Like that's the biggest piece, man. You got to find the right situation. Like you got to find a situation where you'll be able to go in and showcase what you can do.
Mm,
Like that's different for different people, man. But I think like a big like component too. Like man, for all recruits, all kids, man, you gotta have Twitter. Like Twitter is like a coach's lifeline. Like that's like you gotta have it. You gotta have that Twitter, man. And I feel like from there, man, you're able to kind of get a little bit more exposure because like I mean, I'm sit down on my phone all day long looking at Twitter, man, just scrolling. And then, sometimes I'll scroll past like a kid's like video and I click and I'm like, oh dang, man, he looks, but of course the highlights only gonna show highlights.
mm,
But still, some might catch your eye and you like, dang, man, like, oh man, like where this kid go to school at? Boom, boom, boom. And then, you start looking into stuff like that. And then from there, man, you're able to figure out like, oh boom, oh man, like this kid's doing what at where? Like, oh man, he at this little school, he doing this, like, okay, yeah, like let's go check that out.
mm,
One of those situations, man. Like that's how kid, he's actually the quarterback at Duke now, Riley Leonard. Man, I saw him playing with like some like rink dink AAU program in Mobile. And I'm like, man, hold up, man. This dude a little nice.
mm,
This dude a little nice. And then from there, kind of research, oh man, he plays at Fairhope. And you seeing like, oh man, this dude putting up like real numbers and stuff like that. And then fortunately, man, he was able to make it to like the state tournament. He was able to make it to the state tournament in Birmingham. And at the time, one of our assistant coaches, I was like, hey man, you need to go watch this kid. And he watched me. I was like, man, I like this kid. Like, but man, kid you not, bro. Like a week later, that Duke football offer came in, man. It was over. It was over, man. We ain't beating Duke football. So, but just like situations like that, man, just like it's a little bit of luck that goes into it too, man. Like
mm,
with the exposure piece, like being in the right place at the right time. Like, Bob Huggins tells the story of how he found Javon Carter, who was like a West Virginia great. He was like, man, I was at a AU tournament, man, and I ain't even got my cup of coffee, and I'm in the back corner in this gym for the 8 a.m. games, like in the consolation bracket, and this dude is like picking up 94 feet at like 8 a.m. in the morning. And it's like, okay, boom, like he had his opportunity, and that's what he did with his opportunity. Like, but it was like luck too, man, because Bob Huggins didn't have to go to that court. He was
mm,
just in the building, like, hey man, let me go over here and just, it's a game going. Let me go over here and check this game out, and that's how he was found.
mm. That's crazy because a lot of times the kids would be like, "Oh, I'm in a consolation bracket," or I ain't got the
So
situation going on.
yeah, man. Oh yeah, man. I'm done for the day. And then it's like
Yeah.
you never know who people know either, because like the coaching business is so like connected to the point. Like there's sometimes where like someone will see a kid and it's like, man, I don't know if he's good enough for our level, but dang, he can play for my boy over here at such and such. Or it's a situation where, dang man, this dude's real good, man. We can't get him, but man, I got a friend that said blah blah blah. They probably can get the kid. And that's how it works, man. Like
Mm,
it's so connected, so you never know like who knows who. Like you never know. Like that's why I tell people all the time. Like when kids are sitting there, like and they, blow off coaches or ignore coaches, like you never know where that guy's gonna be in a couple of years. Like
mm.
you just don't know. Like especially like the way that the game is like growing and evolving, you never know where people end up at, man. Never.
Yeah, because I've heard I'm on the back end of it now, so got college coaches connections and stuff like that, and it's like they tell me stuff, and it's like I wanted this kid, but this situation happened where they weren't appropriate with how they handled this situation. I saw them at a tournament, they behaved like this, or even as simple as the parents acting up. It's just like,
Yeah, that's
man,
what I'm saying. Yeah, you just never know because different it's different strokes for different folks, man. It's like certain stuff for certain people is like a turn off. Like you just never know, and it's to the point like I'm like a firm believer. Like people don't have to talk good about you, but you need to make sure they ain't talking bad about you either. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like, okay, this guy might not be able to get you to this point, but I guarantee you some of these dudes can stop you from getting to certain places too, though. Like they might not be able to get you there, but they can stop you. And it's just
mm,
one of those situations like you never know who those people are. Like it could be a dad sitting down in the stands watching you or something like that, and it's like, oh man, like I know such and such at this school, they recruiting, man. Oh man, nah, they coach, man, y'all don't need to mess with this dude, man. This dude's like a terrible teammate, man. This dude's got awful body language. Like when stuff ain't going, he don't know how to deal with adversity. Just different stuff like that. So
Mm,
yeah, you never know. Never know.
mm. Yeah, that's sad, man. So, anything else you would like to give advice to for any high school players, middle school players that's looking to play college ball?
Man, just block out the noise, man. Keep working. Like, no matter how good you get, you can always still keep getting better. Like, don't let people like don't eat the rat poison, as Nick Saban would say. Like all the hype, all the noise, man. It's rat poison. Don't eat it. Don't buy into it, man. Like, just keep your head down and keep working, man. Like, if one thing I know, man, the work is gonna always show. At the end of the day, the work is gonna show. The grind only respects one thing. That's the work. That's it.
Mm,
So just keep working, man. Keep your head down. Keep moving forward, man. Keep getting better. Keep finding ways to get better. And don't run away from adversity. Run towards it. Because in
mm.
life, everything you want in life is on the other side of hard. Nothing in life comes for free. Everything is at a cost. So just keep working, man.
Mm. Spoken like a true coach, man. You sound like you ready for the role already, man.
Hey, man. I just gotta keep throwing my role until my opportunity shows up, man.
So, what's the ultimate coaching goal or position for you? Like, do you want to go pro? Do you want to go college, high school? Like, what coaching level are you
Man,
aspiring to get to?
I want to stay in college, man. I want to become head coach one day, man. That's my goal, man. I want to be a Division 1 head coach. That's my end all be all. If other opportunities arise from that, but like right now, like that's what my goals. Like every day, that's what I'm intentionally working towards.
Mm. So, if you had to like break down or get an idea of what your philosophy is of coaching, like your style of play, like what would you lean towards?
Fast, man. I want to play fast. Tempo, more opportunities to score. Like most of the teams you see that like have like a decent amount of success, have a lot of success, man. They play with some tempo because it creates extra opportunities. And then on the defensive side of things, disruptive. Impose your will, disrupt their rhythm. Like basketball is a game of rhythm, so just disrupting their rhythm. So whether that be changing defenses, whether that be digging up in them, you know, whatever it may be, but just making sure that they're not comfortable.
Mm. So if you had to like sample of like certain coaches or college coaches, pro coaches, whoever, like who would you say like your top three, five, like whatever number you want to have, like who would you be like, I'll take this person's defense, I'll take this from Coach K or this for Cal or this for Dunn State. Like what would you take or piece together for your own coaching philosophy or, playbook, whatever?
Defensively, man, I'll take my boss's philosophy right now. And I don't really want to get too much in depth to it because I don't want anybody to have our secrets. But
I
like,
guess.
his defensive philosophy, man, I definitely want to take that and like run with it someday. It's it's good, man. Like it's real good. Like the way that we're able to, you know, disrupt people and stuff like that. The way we're able to, change defenses is like really kind of like our thing, man. We can throw the fastball at you. We can throw the curveball at you. If we whatever we need, man, and we just kind of throw it at you, find what works, man, and guess what? We stick with it. Once you figure that out, okay, something else coming to you. Because I just feel like when you do things like that, it makes it harder, like to prepare for you, especially once you get to
Mhm.
conference play and it's like those quick turnarounds. It's like, okay, we just played like in Conference USA, man. You do Thursday, Saturday. So it's all right, man. We just got done fighting with Middle Tennessee on Thursday, and they do this, and it's like, oh man, we got UAB on Saturday. We only got one day to get ready for them. Okay, so what we gonna be getting ready for? We gonna get ready for the like which one? Like we're gonna try and work against the 1-2-2, the 1-3-1. Like what are we gonna work for? Like what are we gonna work against? So it's just like that aspect. I think that kind of is real disruptive, man. It kind of keeps people off their toes. And offensively, man, I like to kind of really just kind of conform to my players, man. Like figure out what kind of players I have, and from there, build it off of that. But I like those athletic guys. Like I love athletes. I love athletes, but I also got a special place in my heart for the little guards too. So just kind of just building off. Yeah, man. We got to take care of the little guards, man. They dangerous, bro. They real dangerous. I guess a lot of that too comes from being under my mentor. Like a lot of the stuff that I'm planning on doing is gonna be stuff that I've learned from him and stuff that I've learned from other people along the way as well. But I like because I study like this. Like NBA wise, like I'm in love with the Suns just due to there's this guy named Justin Young who owns this basketball thing called Hoop Scene. So his brother is actually like the offensive guy for Monty Williams with the Suns. So like I literally kind of just like get on synergy, watch the different stuff that they do, watch the different sets and stuff that they run. And like I've been wearing Justin out. I'm like, hey man, like put me in touch with your brother, man. Like I want to ask him about this. I want to ask him about that. I'm still trying to get that done. But like that's kind of like offensive. Like I study that a lot. I study him a lot because he was in Philly before that. He ran the offensive Philly as well before that staff had got let go. So I'm like big locked in on Kevin Young.
Hmm. So what about I guess like your personality or temperament type of way? Are you more of a Bob Knight, you throwing chairs and cussing everybody out, or you more just
Healthy,
chilling?
healthy balance, man. Healthy balance, man. Sometimes you gotta chew somebody out, man. Sometimes you gotta love on them. You just gotta kind of know like what works each guy. Like some guys need love, some guys need to get kicked in the butt some. It just all depends on that player, man. But I feel like I plan on having a healthy balance.
Could you ever see yourself coaching on the girl side, or is like mainly guys, or you don't do you care?
Mainly guys, man. I ain't gonna attest to it, man. Whatever wherever this journey that God has me on leads me, it leads me. But I prefer to stay on the men's side of things.
Gotcha. Um, Another question. Forgot it. That's terrible. It happens a lot. When I tell you this happens, probably every interview I do.
Really.
Everyone, yeah. Because I don't like write nothing down. It's just like it just
But
comes and
man,
goes.
it's a real combo, man. We've been going, shoot, man. We've been going 58 minutes, man. We've been going like an hour, and it feel like 15 minutes, man. So nah, but
That's
it's
the
definitely,
beauty of this, bro.
yeah, man. It's definitely been real though, man. Like real conversation, real people. So definitely appreciated this platform and opportunity.
Hmm. Oh, see, it came back. That happens too. I remember out the blue, but yeah, I appreciate that, man. Like I love doing this, man, and it's easy. Like it's not hard work, bro. It's just, I mean, there is some level of hard work to it to be doing it consistently or whatever, but it's
Mhm.
not like I don't enjoy doing it. So
Exactly.
it's work, but it's not the most.
Yeah, it's not, man. Like I tell people all the time, man. I ain't working in no cubicle. I ain't sitting here in front of a doggone computer all day, locked in a room, man. I tell you, I got one of the best jobs in the world, man. I get to wear t-shirts and basketball shorts to work every day. Like like that. Like it's hard jobs out there in this world, man. But nah, man, this ain't one of them, man. It's like I don't really even try and call it like work, man, because it's more of a
Hmm.
passion. You know, it's like something I enjoy doing. It's something I love doing. So I don't look at it as, oh man, I got to go in and do this. Man, I look at it as I get to go in and do this. Like I get this
Hmm.
opportunity. You know, so always
Yeah,
grateful.
that's how I feel about this, bro. Like I ain't where I want to be with my training or with the podcast, but it's like I enjoy doing it so much. Like
Yeah,
when I tell you, bro, like that sometimes is the highlight of my day. Like going
yeah.
to that session, being in there, doing it, having an interview, having a podcast, and when I get done, I'm just like, I could have been having a really good day, but after I get done with that, like, bro, I'm on like cloud 25 after that, bro. Like it,
Nah,
it's amazing.
this conversation definitely lit me up, man. Because it's like you said, man. It's your passion, man. You talking about like basketball coaching. That's my passion. So having the
Mhm.
opportunity to talk about it, that always makes me happy, man. Like I said, I don't turn down talking engagements. I don't turn down talking to anybody. Like I have people who reach out all the time, managers, young kids and stuff like that, kind of just asking questions and different stuff like that. And I always like I'm not gonna never be like too big to answer a call or something like that to talk. This is just one of those situations where there's people who helped me get to this point, and I mean I'll never be able to pay them back. But the least I can do is pay it forward to the next person. That's the
Mhm.
least I can do. So always trying to find ways to pay it forward, man.
Yeah, I think that's um the cycle of life of
Mhm.
how, we got people that pour into us and it's like, run, I could try, but there's nothing I could do to like,
No way, man.
you
No
can't.
way.
So
Oh,
like you said, just paying forward to the next generation, whoever we have come behind us, man. So but I
man.
respect that, bro.
Got to, man. Got to take care of the next ones, man. Got to. I try and, especially like for our managers at UAB, man, I try and do my best to, mentor them any way possible. Like, especially too, like them being able to know my story and see what I did and like where I am now. And they can see, like,
Hmm.
oh, man, that's possible too, because most people think that, the coaching profession, you have to play to get into the profession. You have to have been a player or something like that. But that's not the case. That's not the case. There's plenty of guys who have been managers and become head coaches and different things like that. Man, like it doesn't always. You don't always have to be a player to get the way you want to be in life. So that's kind of like one of my biggest things, man. Just kind of showing them dudes that you don't have to be that 6'5" athletic college player to get into the profession.
Hmm.
You can get into the profession just being who you are. So,
Yeah, because Eric Spoelstra, he went up that coaching route where he
man,
wasn't pro player. I don't think he played at all, to be real with you, especially not
that's
at high level. But
exactly, man. Film worked his way all the way up, man. That man was doing film for the Heat back when I was born. And look at him, man. Finna playing in game 7 tonight for the chance to go to the NBA finals, man. And I was talking with my guys about the other day, like, I don't think you can name a coach in the NBA that has lasted after LeBron.
mm,
Like lasted out like them dudes, like they don't last. Like I looked it up, man. It's like once LeBron like leaves, or even just
hmm,
like coaches said he's had period, man. Them dudes always in the fire. But Spo
yeah,
was able to stick on, man. Like that's like, and that's a testament to like who he is. Like, I don't know him personally, but for you to be able to do something that's never been done before like that, like I like applaud those dudes. Just like Coach Petway that just got the job at Kennesaw State, man. Like literally, I've never met him, never had a conversation with him, but I literally look up to him because that dude
mm,
made it through like 3 coaching changes.
mm,
Even took like a demotion and stayed, then worked his way back up and grinded, man. Like dude's like a grinder. You can make it through three coaching changes, let alone just three. But you doing that in the SEC too at Bama, like man,
hmm,
that's insane. Like that's
yeah,
unheard of. Like it just don't happen. So just staying tried and true, man. Like dudes like that, man. They just like roaches, man. You can't kill them. They always around, man. Yeah,
yeah. I think sometimes coaches like you, I want to say get a bad rap, but you kind of like aren't seen in the brightest light compared to a player who moved up and through the coaching routes. But
exactly, exactly. That's why you got to kind of, and it has its pros and it has its cons because like those players, man, most of those former players, they depend on the aspect of, okay, I know how to work out these players and stuff like that, and then that'll be my way in. And they don't really worry about touching like the video side of it or like the film side of it, anything like that, or like the technical side of things like that. They don't really like, they kind of, the only thing they do is, hey man, you're gonna work these players out, like that's what you're gonna do. And that kind of puts you in the box compared to like people who weren't former players. So like you don't necessarily know as much about player development, like you're kind of learning it as you go,
hmm,
piecing it together. But it's like one thing I do know is, man, I know this film stuff. I know that like front and back of my hand. I'm still honing my skills on the player development side, but it's just one of those situations now where I have this and I have that compared to most
hmm,
players. They only have the player development side of things because most times when they brought on, that's kind of like the box that they're put in. Like they're like, okay, man, you're a former player, you gonna work out the players. That's what you do, work out the
hmm,
players. Compared to guys like me, they come and they're like, hey man, I need you to figure out Photoshop. I need you to learn this film stuff, man. I need you to learn how to do these reimbursements and stuff. I need you to learn how to do this. And it's like you do all those skills, you get good at that, and then you still down there rebounding for these guys. So like literally, like with Jordan Walker, like I'm sitting down there rebounding for Coach Parker, and I'm just like picking up little stuff like, okay, oh yeah, man, boom, okay, so that makes sense, boom, 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 and then from there, man, you fortunate enough to have like opportunities, man. Like my boss gave me a great opportunity due to a connection that he had with his former athletic trainer at Ole Miss. So that athletic trainer now is at Bama. And Kyra Lewis, when he had tore his ACL and stuff, man, he needed somewhere to rehab. So literally, he was down in Birmingham, like rehabbing and stuff like that. And we were in the gym like probably 4 days a week for like 2 months or so. And I was like the one working him out. Like I was one helping him with rehab, just getting shots and stuff like that. And like a lot of stuff that we're doing was the stuff that I had picked up from previous people. So, just having an opportunity and a chance to kind of apply that, like real cool, man, real cool. Especially with it, like, that was probably like one of like I ain't gonna say that's one of the first players I worked out, but pro wise, like that's the first pro I've ever like been around and worked with. So like that was like a crazy cool experience. And then kind of seeing him, as we went on, kind of seeing him get stronger and different stuff like that. So like that was real cool.
Yeah, man. I mean, you got I don't say you got a hard road ahead of you, but you know what you getting into.
Yeah, most definitely.
Just lay out the obstacles that you gotta do.
The work ain't done, man.
Yeah.
Just the same thing, like what you said, like the same advice I gave these high school kids, man. Got to keep grinding, man. Got to block out the noise. Like, people always say all the time, like, oh, man, like, I know I'm blessed. Definitely know I'm blessed, people like, man, you made it, man. Like, you a coach. And it's, like, man, I ain't there yet, man. It's still, can't eat the rat poison, man. It's still work to be done, man. Still work, so.
Yeah, man. Anything else you want to get off your chest before we get out of here?
Smooth, man. Appreciate you for having me, man. Appreciate you for this opportunity.
I appreciate you coming on, man. I never take it lightly. I always, I don't like never get to an arrogant place where like, yeah, you came into my pocket. Like, nah, bro, you ain't have to do it. So I always appreciate it, man. Like, it always means a lot when somebody agrees to it.
Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out, man. Shout out to Larry too for, helping bridge this thing together, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, shout out my boy Larry Legend.
Yes, sir.
Up there in Phoenix, doing his thing, man. Hopefully, he can keep doing his thing up there for a very long time. And
oh yeah, man. I told him, just hold on, man. One day when I'm fortunate enough to give me a program, I'm calling him up.
Yeah, that's a great dude, man. That would be a fun combo, man. I have to get y'all back on and like have y'all together.
We definitely do it, man. That's my guy.
So yeah, man. I guess that's it, man. We're gonna get out of here. But before we get out of here, I need every viewer, every listener, please listen in, especially right now. I need you to subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple or whatever, it doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. Hit subscribe, follow along, because I just got a future college coach giving you game, telling you his story and giving you some game on how to get recruited, how to get to the pro level. And it's like, bro, it's all free. You didn't pay anything but 6 to 8 minutes of your time. Like, come on, bro. Like, just hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, comment, share, all the good. Whatever other podcasts and YouTubers tell you to do, just do that for me too. Like I said all that because I didn't say all that, but whatever, just do that for me. And then follow me on social media as BeBall Jones, BeBall Jones, so all social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, and find some other stuff. I might be on there too. I just haven't figured it out yet, but I might be on there at some point. And then follow the coach, of course, the future coach, Josh Lane. Follow him on Instagram and Twitter. That's Josh_Lane1. I'll have the link and stuff in the description below. But appreciate you all for watching. Appreciate you for listening. It means a lot. Appreciate you, Josh, for coming on. Any other words you want to give to people before you get out here, man?
Keep working, man. Keep working. Keep your head down. Keep grinding.
Well, that's it, man. You heard it from the future coach himself, man. Keep working. Keep grinding. Keep doing the work. But that's it. Appreciate you. Hopefully, I'll see you next week. That's it. Have a good one.